All right, let's do it, guys. It is 6:30. I don't know what day it is. Does anyone know? I'm still in that boat. For April 22nd, 2021, it's Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Columbus DJ Podcast, episode 41. We got DJ B REDI, a.k.a. Brian. Flip that for me. And we got my co-host, Corrupt. Corrupt, what's happening, man? You had a big weekend.
Yeah, I played a 7-hour set Saturday, which was fun.
It's all techno, right?
You didn't play, but you still had a long weekend, I heard.
Oh, I sure did. 7-hour sets were my thing this weekend, man. Miami was amazing. We did Kiki on the River, which had one of the best DJs I've ever heard in my life.
Really?
Yeah, dude. He was doing everything correctly. Just started off with like maybe 2011 to 2015 EDM sing-alongs. And so that got like our table just going hard. And then
like give me a couple examples.
Oh man, Calvin Harris Summer was probably the biggest one of them all.
Okay.
The Swedish House Mafia stuff. What else? All those big sing-alongs.
The originals or originals or like
mostly originals, originals, some remixes that maybe just kind of updated. You know how they have like the 2020 editions of all those, banger sing-alongs. And then he would go Latin for a little bit. Then he would go like the new hip hop stuff. Then he would go reggaeton and just would like maybe 10 minutes of each, and it was on to the next. But they were everything he played was just like the perfect thing. JB and I were just like, oh, I did have a bad moment though. So my drunk ass, I'm like, and I had like said something to the light guy because he was doing a really nice job. The way they had the lights designed were really cool. So I had said something to him earlier. So at the end of the night, I only got like $20 in my pocket. So I'm like, yeah, let me give this to the DJ or whatever. So I've been talking to the light guy before, and like the DJ was off doing his thing. And I can only reach the light guy. Here, man, $20, like here's a tip. You guys made our night. And he hands it to the DJ, and then he holds his hand out, and I was kind of like, that's it. That's all I got, bro.
That's all I got.
No,
I don't know if you see all the drinking we've been doing, but that's all I got. I've been on my card.
I mean, I think that's great that you did that, man.
No, but like for it to be two guys, $20 in Miami, a little bit insulting, right?
I see.
Yeah. So I was like, ooh, not the best,
funny.
not the best moment for me. But then we did 11, we did Live. Live was probably the best experience. Space was great. So we hit all
Nice.
SLS pool. So it was awesome weekend.
You
I
did it
paid
right.
for it.
Where do you stay?
We stayed at the Fountain Blue. Not my choice. But it was quite cool. Yeah, man.
So were you out there for work or play?
Play. But if you asked the IRS, it was work. I was Shazamming stuff,
Hey.
I asked the guy at the Fountain Blue pool, I'm like, can I DJ here? He's like, no. And I'm like, all right, cool. Work trip.
It is a new year of taxes.
Yeah. Be ready. You want to talk about that a little bit, right? Why don't you give us your intro, and then we'll head into all the business. You know what? Dude, let's talk about Gala Park for a little bit, Corrupt. Because I want to hear about your weekend too.
I mean, dude, it was great. It's a sexy vibe in there. The food is amazing. It's gonna be great. They're limited with capacity right now with restrictions, and they're being extra careful because it's a new spot, But I can't even explain in words how much I love that place, and just to be up in that booth, and being at Dahlia for 5 years in a row, on Saturdays, and then now I didn't even do like a going away party there. I just kind of shifted over to Gala, and it's just I'm really optimistic about it. Like I'm watching how well our staff is trained and stuff. I'm just like, wow, like I'm not saying like it's just a different level than Dahlia, right? And a different vibe entirely. So Dahlia is great, but I'm excited for Gala for sure.
Cool. Next step, man. And you'll be able to kind of bounce around between like all 3, 4 now. So
exactly. Yeah.
All right, now let's
Gala Park. Sorry, real quick question. Gala Park is right across the street from Seesaw, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what are expectations as far as kind of the competition or how that plays out?
I mean, it's definitely a different vibe than Seesaw. They're going after like it. So Gala's going to be a steakhouse first and foremost. Like
Gotcha.
it's supposed to be like an upscale dinner vibe, and then as the night goes on, the music slowly changes and the lights get dimmer, and then the light show starts, and then the table service bookings come in, and then yeah, you'll still have some similar music hits, but a lot different as well. I mean, you can't not play like certain songs that are hot. Like we get that, but we're gonna have quite a few genres that I don't know if Seesaw's playing mixed in. I'm not sure, but we love those guys. Like we had
Makes
we had them over for a dinner. We gave them a free dinner at Gala Park, you know. So it's going to be awesome to have both places popping, and I think that whole
Right.
area is just going to be like the spot.
Dude, absolutely. I mean, so much teamwork. I mean, because I envision a lot of people starting their night at Gala Park and then moving over to Seesaw and maybe even coming back, just because that corner is just going to be so hot. And, you know, there's going to be lines out the doors for both, especially while we got these restrictions. So I think, you know, teamwork's going to be in order. You guys are going to be sharing a lot of things. But I'm looking forward to what we got coming next. Brian, we don't know each other too well. So I'm looking forward to kind of hearing your story and getting to know you a little bit better.
Awesome.
So yeah, go ahead, man. Tell us how you got started, like where we can find you and all that.
Right. So Brian Reddick, aka DJ B REDI, really got started probably around 2017, 2018. I'm a big pregame guy. So really started with making playlists for pregames, quote unquote DJing pregames from my phone. And then bought a controller, really started figuring that out. Took me some time. And then once I kind of got halfway decent with that, I was connected with people who threw events. And so I kind of wiggled my way into being on their list. And so that's really kind of where I took off. I really started doing more private events. And then once I was kind of more comfortable with those private events, started getting better and better and better, was able to branch outside of just those private events and do more of the, you know, seesaws and more of the forums and club type format things. So that's kind of how I started and grew in my DJ career. But outside of DJing, I'm a CPA. So graduated with a degree in accounting, got my CPA right after that. So I work as an accounting manager full time, and then really dive into the music at night and on the weekends.
Dude, so first of all, being a CPA and a DJ is a great combo because we talk about it all the time on here, how important it is if you're gonna take this seriously as a business, how important it is to keep your taxes organized. But what kind of music do you prefer to play, or what's some of your favorite genres that you stay up with?
Right. So when I first got started, it was really just completely hip hop and R&B. I mean, that's what I like. What I like to listen to the most is old school R&B and hip hop. And so not like mainstream hip hop like the Baby, but more like Corday or Kendrick type stuff. That's probably my favorite genre to listen to and to play. But then more recently, I've started to get more into the dance music scene, where there's still a lot of hip hop and R&B influence. So I think that's probably like the K-Tronadas of the world. Anderson .Paak / K-Tronada is probably one of my favorite genres to DJ.
Nice. I mean, that's definitely happening. The good thing too is like R&B's coming back full swing in Columbus. Like I don't know anybody that doesn't want to hear R&B at some point in your set anymore. Mike, you got anything?
Right.
Yeah, dude. I want to know, like, what's most memorable, like, what's a performance you're like super proud of, or like when you felt like you made it as a DJ? Because I think we all have that moment where like, this is it, this is why I started it, like, this is what I want.
Yep.
Like, I want to hear about that event a little bit.
Yeah, so I think that my moment where I was like, you know, not I made it, but like I belong here was Hips. So I was lucky enough to get invited to DJ Hips. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I was extremely nervous. I practiced my set for like a month. Wow. Got out there, killed it, and it was a lot of fun. Executed it very well. And then, you know, there were a couple guys from Cleveland there who I respect as DJs, and you know, they were like, "Yo, that was dope," and that meant a lot to me at that moment, because I was like, you know, I put a lot into this, and so I think that Hips moment was kind of one of the best moments in my DJ career. For
sure. Props to Bono, and I think Pastel B was a part of that show as well. Like, and then there's one more organizer who I've never met. I don't think they're a DJ, but yeah, big shout out to Hips. I really hope. I mean, they were killing it. I think they had maybe not sold out, but filled up the Bluestone last year.
Yeah.
You know, before not last year, but you know what I'm saying, 2019, before everything went crazy. So hopefully they get back on it because that was a great party, man. I mean, anytime you can put R&B in a night like that, I feel like it's kind of like house a little bit, to where because it's similar in energy, you know, you can kind of design a night in a way where it's like, you know, the valleys aren't too low and the highs aren't too high, and kind of vibes the whole
night. And just like I was saying earlier, kind of my favorite genre to DJ was kind of that R&B / house mix, and Hips definitely embodies that in a lot of ways.
And you mentioned something earlier I gotta ask about. You said you like old school R&B. Now, how old school are we talking? That's the question.
Man, I'm talking like old school from my parents type old school. So like all over the place with that. Prince, Luther Vandross type old school. Man,
I'm mad at my dad, dude. We were in Las Vegas for like a family trip, and he puts on this Tina Marie song. I think it's called Square Biz. And one of the, like, I'm getting chills right now. One of the greatest songs I've just ever heard. And I'm like, Dad, where was this when we were growing up? He's like, I was playing this all the time. I'm like, nah, not like this, like that, you know.
That's funny. So who's your favorite R&B artist?
Me? Ooh. Of the old school or?
Any.
Of the old school, I think it's Maze and Frankie Beverly, just because you can play that anywhere and everyone's going wild. It's not just like the people in the know, so I like that. And then of the new age people, I think, you know, I would have loved if Usher had stuck around for a little bit while. I think T-Pain deserves to be in the conversation. Who else that I really like? Neo. I can listen to Year the Gentleman front to back, no skips, easy.
That's fair.
But I know I'm forgetting some. I'm curious about you do some R&B sets. Who are your R&B?
I was gonna say Usher, just because you know, the early 2000s was my shit. So
Confession still goes.
Yeah,
definitely.
But definitely, I love the Luther and Prince. I mean, that's stuff that I play at Gala right now, and Fireproof. So.
And then Be Ready. Are you on turntables most comfortable, or CDJs, controllers?
So I started with CDJs, and that's where I kind of got the most comfortable. And then I always had this vision that you're not a quote unquote real DJ if you only use controllers.
Yeah, fuck that. So
exactly. I have come to that realization that is false later on, but that made me branch into the turntable. So I have turntables.
That's good. That's good then. I mean, that it used to be that way. Like that was true. Yeah, and then, you know, equipment just kept evolving.
Exactly.
And then, you know, it was just like, well, not everyone can afford CDJs and turntables anymore. So
right.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things on my list of, you know, kind of next steps is getting more comfortable with CDJs. I'm not comfortable with CDJs at all. So like if I have to go to a event where I need to use CDJs, I'll just go off the mixer by itself. No nothing. Yep. Just the mixer.
Internal mode in Serato or flash drives?
Internal mode in Serato.
Okay.
So how does that work? Like if you're not using anything, you just mix off the computer, huh?
Are you ready to nerd? Are you ready to nerd out real quick?
We're always ready.
So I MIDI map a couple of the knobs on my Rain 72 to affect the BPMs. Then I'll MIDI map a couple buttons for play and stop. So if I have something on the left deck, I can turn a knob to adjust the BPM.
And you can use one as like a cue button as well.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I have my hot cues already set, so I don't really need a cue, quote unquote cue button. Like
just a play button.
Exactly. It's just a play button.
Nice. You know, there's some good house music names on there.
Yeah. But when we come back, at some point we got to talk about Uri and Kenobi's back to back. I still haven't heard about that.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh. I don't like that reaction.
No. I mean, I'll keep it real too. I'll keep it real with him.
He said he played his own track and it went off. We're live, by the way, if you don't want to say it live.
No. I think his track did do well.
Okay, good.
But he saved it for the end of our set too. So it's like, here's what I told him. I was like, you can't judge the reaction at that time of your track. You need to send it to people to get feedback. Mm-hmm. I was like, because you got to think, they know that Dylan Nathaniel's about to come on and they're drunk now. And I think the track was great. Don't get me wrong. I think it was fine. I think his track's good. but I was like, you gotta send this for real feedback too. Don't just be like, oh, they danced, it's a banger. Yeah, like yeah.
Right. All right, we're back live, guys. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. You guys know how it goes. My next question for you, Brian, was tell us about your production. We talked about Sample Saturday. I really enjoyed, like I said, if you were watching the pre-show, I said this, but I really enjoyed going through your IG because it's not just the samples that were dope. It was the video behind it, the visualizer, the text. I thought it was really cool the way you did that. So just tell us a little about Sample Saturdays, how that came about, and what you got coming next with it.
Yeah, so I think we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, talking about our old school R&B. So one of my favorite things to listen to is when someone is able to take some old school stuff and flip it to something that's more new school. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of really what birthed, quote unquote, Sample Saturday. And so, I have a lot of fun with, flipping those live, whether that be behind the decks or whether it's just within the production of music itself. So I have a lot of fun with that. And then I think you mentioned about the production of the videos. So I'm very big on just like figuring out ways to do it myself. And so I enjoy looking at those visualizer type videos. And, when DJs are able to put on kind of, mixes or productions where there's a lot of production value with the video, not just the music. And so definitely took some sweat equity in that one to figure out how to do all that stuff. But, I think it's turned out well.
Yeah. Tell us about your process if you can a little bit, man. Like, what are you using? Machine? Are you using MPC, Ableton? Are you grabbing the record? You're grabbing the sample from the record? You just find some online?
Yeah. So when it comes to like actually producing music, I first started with FL Studio.
Okay.
And I wasn't really sampling much. I was using Splice, I was still pulling samples from there and then putting those beats together. Shout out to P Holla, who kind of introduced me to FL Studio and helped me get started. It wasn't till recently I got into Ableton Live, started doing more actual sampling of old school music. So I'll put something in Serato Sample, and I know we talk about Serato DJ, but they also have a program, Serato Sample. I'll throw something in Serato Sample, chop it up, and have a lot of fun with that as well.
Now, this is what I like to talk about, man. Talk about Serato Sample if you can, because it's kind of the new guy on the scene, which means it probably has been learning from like the other DAWs a little bit. But I think they really are catering to DJs. They're putting out a ton of content. Just about helping out. Like, I'm not trying to produce, so it's not really interesting to me, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts, and maybe some other people are.
Right. So, they really have kind of two products, Serato Studio and Serato Sample. So Serato Studio is supposed to be more like a DAW. It's supposed to be more like a FL Studio or Ableton. Serato Sample is just a plugin within Ableton.
Oh, okay.
So Serato Sample is nice because they kind of take what they already have in Serato and build on top of it. So it's key detection, its BPM detection, which you have in Serato, is amazing. And there's not a lot of plugins production-wise that have that. And then when you add what they do as far as producing music, being able to chop a sample, being able to repitch a sample because of their pitch detection, being able to match up the BPM of the sample with the BPM of the track you're trying to produce, it kind of is unmatched.
Oh, man. And then you take it into Serato Sample, and then what?
So really taking a Serato Sample and then move that into Ableton, have fun with it. What I like to do typically is put like a drum loop in Ableton, get a feel for the drum loop, chop the sample up in Serato Sample, put that, because it's really, you're just making the MIDI clips. So once you build out your MIDI clips for Serato Sample, you got that. And then I'll oftentimes delete the drum loop and put my own drums back on top of it.
Nice. And then are you doing that, tapping out the pads, or just using MIDI still, or grabbing stuff from Splice?
Man, all over the place, really. Yeah. So like, it's funny you asked that question. I have this kind of fight within me between hardware and software.
Okay.
Like I don't know which one I like more. So I kind of invest in both. So sometimes, I'll pull out the machine with the jam and I'll tap the drum loop out. Sometimes I'd rather use the software and I'll find some loops. I'll chop them up within Ableton itself, just using the keyboard or using my little MIDI controller. So it really depends on how I feel that day, which route I take.
Nope. Any productions questions for Be Ready? Any questions for Be Ready Corrupt about production?
Not really. Just when you made the switch from FL to Ableton, was that a hard switch? Because I feel like they're pretty different.
They are pretty different, and I think the major leg up that Ableton has is that its ability to merge hardware and software. So I mean, obviously Ableton Live is called Ableton Live for a reason. It's very good at, you can have a ridiculous hardware live setup, and Ableton is able to take the MIDI, take the audio from all of your different sources and kind of blend that into Ableton itself. So being able to mix the hardware and the software, Ableton is unmatched in that respect.
Cool.
And then you recently, maybe not recently, but you're married, got, baby DJ on the way for sure. And so congratulations for that.
Thank you.
I do a lot of weddings, and I think so every weekend I'm thinking about, all right, if I were to go down this path and actually have a wedding, like what would I do? Who would be playing? Like what would the vibe be like? So I want to know like what that process was like when you're planning your wedding. I mean, obviously you have someone, you have a co-planner, right? So you have to interact with her, but just tell me about how it went about, planning the entertainment for your wedding.
So that is a very good question. And my vision for when we first started going into the planning session was, I want multiple DJs. I have DJ friends. I just want to be able to say, hey, you have a 1 hour slot. You have a 1 hour slot. Do what you do. I obviously want it to be appropriate for the moment, but like do what you do for your little slot. Then, COVID took hold of everything. And so we really had to kind of whittle down because we had a COVID wedding. So we had 48 people at our wedding. And so really had to kind of whittle down what those expectations were. And I don't know if you know, but my wife is also a DJ.
Oh, you lucky punk.
So
Sorry,
my wife's also a DJ. She may or may not have better music selection than me. The verdict is still out on that. So what we ended up doing was she picked the songs and I mixed them before the wedding. And we had Leak, who you've had on the podcast before. We had Leak just basically press play. So, I mean, he's comfortable with Serato. We didn't have any DJ equipment. It was just my audio interface and my laptop. And I set up a Serato crate with the mixes, with the first dances and all that stuff, had my cue point set, and basically gave Leak a 5-minute rundown of when he needed to switch to what. And it was a wrap from there.
Wow, man.
Awesome,
that's awesome. That route isn't even in like my wheelbox, but it makes a lot of sense because you've been DJing.
Who's been DJing longer? You or your wife?
So I actually taught her how to DJ.
Oh, cool.
The old teach them how to DJ trick works every time.
Right. So I mean, that was a lot of fun. So, but I mean, she had, like I said, she has good music taste, so I didn't teach her that. But but the whole definitely putting the wedding together was a lot of fun.
So shoot, get her in here, man. We'll have her on the podcast, do a little joint thing. We only have one guest.
Right.
What was has she done her own events yet?
She has. So I think starting out, when you're first coming up, you kind of rely on other people to help you get events or stuff like that. So I was able to help her do that for some things. We actually put on an event together called Clink. It was a happy hour. And I mean, and she did well. So she started getting her own events. And then obviously there's not a lot of Black female DJs anywhere. And so she also kind of taps into a niche market with that.
Nice.
Absolutely, man. Good for her. Let's see what we got here. You talked about Machine a little bit. I'm a Machine user as well. It doesn't sound like it's a main part of what you do for your thing, but why'd you get it? Are you using it at all, or what do you like about it? And maybe why isn't it a part of what you do?
Yeah, so honestly, the only reason it's not a part of what I do more regularly is just because of space. So right now, my office. So I mean, I'm a accounting manager, so my office doubles as what I do 9 to 5 and then what I do after that. And so my setup is kind of set up in a way that I can easily switch between the two.
Right.
But I don't have a lot of space for a machine to because I mean, it takes up a decent amount of space,
sure,
especially when you add the jam, you double it. So that's really the only reason I don't use it more regularly. When I first started to learn it and was getting into it more regularly, I had a lot of fun with it. So in the future, I definitely want it to be a more integral part of my production.
Got it. James, you want to take us into show and tell, man?
Yeah, man. So Brian, we just every episode, you know, we share something that's DJ related, non-DJ related that you have at your house, something special, meaningful to you. We've had pretty much everything from wedding rings, pregnancy photos, DJ controllers, animals. Dude, we've
had it all, man.
What else have we had though? Because like we've had some really good stuff.
Old effects boxes. I'm trying to think what Tony DeSaro brought. He brought something cool. Records.
Oh, it was there was like a custom made CDJ. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, wow. Duct tape. Yeah, duct tape.
Duct tape had that. Yeah.
Just talked to him yesterday. But yeah, man, no pressure. Whatever you got that you want to show. Well, we're talking about everybody else.
Right.
You want to talk? Tell us about. Show us show and tell.
Nah, so I'm actually set up in my living room right now just so I could have this backdrop. So this backdrop right here, my wife and I did this together, and it's kind of like an installation almost of some of our favorite albums. And then she dipped all of the frames in paint to kind of get that effect. Can you guys see it very well?
Yeah, it looks great.
I can see it. Yeah, that looks
yeah. But then we got some of our favorite albums up there though. So I don't know. I asked you this question earlier, but my favorite R&B artist is Music Soul Child. So he's on the wall.
Okay.
Got some Kendrick, got some Kanye up there, got some Erykah Badu up there.
I feel like I recognize the bottom right. Who's bottom right? If I'm looking at you, the pink and yellow, or salmon and yellow.
It's like salmon and yellow. Yeah.
Talking here?
No,
opposite side.
Oh yeah. That's Kanye.
Okay.
Yeah.
It might have looked like a Selena album. Like, all right, I'll get that.
No.
Now
my beautiful dark twisted fantasy.
Got it. Cool.
That's super cool. I like that idea with the paint too.
James, you talked a little bit about Gala Park and the grand opening. I know you've been making playlists for that. I think there's a lot of opportunities right now for DJs, not only to be making playlists for these, new spots that are popping up, but become entertainment managers. You see guys like Chang, Justin Nice, Aaron Osten really transitioning into like the music director roles. You do that for multiple spots. You've opened, Fireproof, Dolly, all these places. What goes into like a grand opening, and like how do you go about setting the vibe at like a new spot?
Yeah, so I mean, you kind of like before you open, you kind of have an idea of what you want to do and like what that place is inspired off of. And then, you also have to remember that you're not in a Miami and you're in Columbus. So you have to cater to that city as well. So you can have influences from outside Columbus, and then you got to like really like go after the clientele that you're going after. And then like the real art to it is like trying to make it different than every other spot. Like when you hear that music, that's Fireproof's music. You know what I mean? So I'm actually getting more and more into this. DJ Serge and I are kind of working on this together because of how much experience he has. And, I'm pretty good with figuring out where we're going to use these DJs and who knows what and all that. So yeah, man, Gala Park is still in a very experimental phase with the music, but for the most part, we know what we want to do. And now it's just about how we're going to operate for now, like with the restrictions, but also just the timing of how, like, we always talk about, telling a story with the music.
Sure.
And like right now we're trying to, okay, we got what we want to play in there, but how do we put that together to tell the right story? And how do we make that sexy? And, how do we keep people for dinner and make that transition smooth. So that's where we're at right now. It's a really exciting project, but it's taken a lot of time. So like, you know, my music production is kind of on the back burner right now till we get this figured out. And then, you know, I got that mix series I told you I was working on.
Sure.
So that's all kind of sitting in the back seat right now till we get the Gala Park vibe perfected.
And then you said you were telling me about your team earlier. Who you got on the Gala Park team, and are you looking for anyone new? And kind of what are you looking for? Because we were talking a little bit earlier about there's not a lot of DJs, and no one take offense to this, but like from a booking perspective, there's not a lot of DJs with the kind of depth to do like a Gala Park or Fireproof or anything like that. So who you got on the team, and what are you looking for if you were to add members?
Yeah, so the truth is we do need to add members, but it's not like you can just post now hiring DJs on Facebook.
You better
because
not.
You're just going to get 50 messages of, you know, like it's just not the way to do it. But we've got Sam Beardeman, who's a very awesome dude, and he's a great DJ, and we're going to continue training him on, you know, what to play, but for the most technical side of things, he's great, and he's humble, and he listens. So like, that's like a big thing for me is like, you know, like no offense, like not all young DJs are like this, but like, you know, a lot of them already think they're superstars, you know, before they've went down certain roads. And so that really blocks them from growing and having opportunities to make better money. And I think that, you know, we talk about it all the time, the benefits of being a true open format DJ with learning multiple genres and what that does for your craft. So we're looking for DJs, and then you think about like where the older DJs are already booked, especially now with weddings coming back. A lot of older DJs that have the depth are already booked and, you know, are already playing lounges and stuff like that. So we're taking our time with looking, but I mean, you know, you would, like, for example, Mike, you would be somebody that we would want, but I already know you're booked on weddings and you're not going to be able to be consistent on the schedule.
Hey man, I still want in there. When you
I know you want in there.
Playlist. When you ask that playlist, I'm like, come on, baby.
Well, dude, that's not a question. Like that can happen, but like, you know, when we're building a schedule weekly, you know, we're going to try to find somebody that, you know, believes in like the peerless values and wants to be a really part of it and grow long term. And sure, that's not easy to find, but you know, but I'm not opposed to like having a DJ that's willing to like learn new genres and learn and build their library and realize the importance of like building a night through maybe some genres that they aren't hip to yet, whether it's like, you know, 80s or disco or, you know, deep house or, you know, Afrobeat, whatever. Like I didn't know much about Afrobeats till this year. Now it's like one of my favorite things to play. You know what I mean? So that's where we're at. I'm excited about it. You got to come in though. You got to come check it out for sure. Both of you guys. Anytime you guys want to come in, man, I'll make sure. Even though it's seating only, like we'll get you at the bar or something.
There's a great chance if they're open tonight, I'll probably stop by just to check it out, and then a really good chance I'll stop by. Saturday. Actually, I'm in the short north tonight, Friday, and Saturday, and I get off early, so I will definitely be stopping by multiple times, checking it out.
So, yeah, I'll be there tonight, and it'll be cool too because like I was just messaging Justin Nice, like I'm going to literally visit him like a pre-shift every night and be able to like catch up with all those guys. So, you know, I wasn't able to ever stop in Seesaw because of my schedule, but now I'll be able to like say what's up to those boys. You guys
are gonna swap, you know, hey, you know, pull the, what do you call it, the Chinese fire drill where you switch DJ spots for 15 minutes and go back. That
might not work, but like, yeah, it'll be fine.
All right. We'll get back to Be Ready in a minute, but first, Corrupt, I told you I had a surprise at the beginning of the show. Are you ready, my friend? All right, here it is.
I'm ready.
You gotta
look
nervous. At the actual stream. You can't look at the Zoom, but
okay, go to Facebook.
It's way up here. But boom, the Columbus DJ podcast, and I'm gonna shorten that. Columbus DJ podcast merch is now available.
Man, okay.
So there's our sound
Look at
effect for
that.
everybody. But yeah, so we got 2 hats right now and a laptop cover. I've basically priced it out. I know this is exactly what, not that this is like the first thing you're thinking about. This is what I'm first thinking about. I've priced it out so there's free shipping, and that like Corrupt and I make like 65 cents off of each purchase. So, buy it so so we can afford our dinners at Gallup Park or something. But yeah, so we got the 614 hat, and underneath it says Columbus DJ Podcast. Got that in a bunch of colors. Same thing, C-Bus in case you don't want the 614. Same, and then the laptop covers. If you have an idea for a design, let us know. We'll put it up there. Like I said, nobody's trying to make money off this stuff, but if there's something that you want, that shows like, hey, I'm a supporter of the Columbus DJ Podcast. The site Printful, which shout out to Kimbro Plays, who we had on the podcast, who showed me how to kind of link all this stuff up and set it up. It's really easy to get kind of whatever you want in there. So if you want to, get some Columbus DJ Podcast merch, it's djaxcess.com/Columbus DJ Podcast. Or you can use the link that I'm about to put up in a second. That is going to get rid of this though. So boom.
Don't sleep on those laptop covers.
Right?
They do not protect you from drink spills though. Full disclaimer.
do not sue us. We got 15-inch and 13-inch, by the way. Yeah, check that out. Boom.
That's cool.
Let's do tastemakers, guys. What have you been listening to? What's been in your ears on your Spotify? Be ready. We got to start with you, buddy.
That's a good question. First of all, I don't use Spotify. I'm probably the only person on here who does not do that. I'm a Tidal guy all the way.
I use both, actually.
That's fair. That's fair. I use Tidal, Apple Music.
Is that for the Serato integration?
It does. I don't like to do the Serato integration just because you have to rely on having internet connection, a good internet connection. So I really don't rely on that at all. It's really more just for supporting Jay-Z, supporting Black people.
Yep, I hear you, man.
It's the main reason for doing that. So try to get, and as far as artists go, you get more money per stream on Tidal than you do on any other platform.
That is accurate.
If you wanna support a friend, you should stream their music on Tidal versus a Spotify, who I think gives the lowest stream per dollar per stream, cent per stream.
Well, we'll give him a little, give Jay-Z a little bit of a commercial. What do you like about Tidal? Are the playlists as good? Can you find everything on there? I know the answer to these questions, but I want to hear it from you. Tell the audience what you think about Tidal.
Honestly, it's not what I would like it to be.
Oh no, Jay-Z's gonna get upset, man.
Exactly. Well, Jay-Z already sold everything, so Jay-Z's fine.
Oh wow, he already sold out of Tidal already?
I mean, he sold part of it to Sprint, and then a while ago, and then I'm pretty sure he sold the rest of it to Jack Dorsey at Square.
Damn, I didn't know that.
/ Twitter. So Jay-Z's cashed in on his investment already.
That was fast.
Yes, it was. I mean, when Jay-Z first got with Tidal, he took all of his music off of every other platform. Then he put his music back on the other platforms. Maybe 2 years later, he inflated the value of Tidal in the meantime, because him and Beyonce's music were exclusively on Tidal. And then he's sold Tidal completely to Jack Dorsey at Twitter / Square.
I really hope we get to a point where, like, if you want somebody's music, like maybe there's like a central, like there are the Spotify's and the Apple Musics where you discover music, but if you want that on your computer or whatever it is, that you have to go to, like, say, a Bandcamp, or I have to go to djbredi.com and buy the track for $1, $5, whatever it is. Because I mean, Carl, imagine if you made $1 for every time someone purchased, or or maybe like a penny every time someone streamed your track. Like
exactly.
So
that'd be great. I honestly think we're moving in that direction with cryptocurrency and NFTs.
Talk about it.
We're moving in that direction to where you can really monetize your personal productions better than if you put it on a Spotify or an Apple Music or a Tidal. So
man, if they did music production like they do digital art, that would be crazy.
So I honestly, I mean, I think it was ASAP Rocky who did this a couple days ago. He put together a digital piece of art, previewed a new song, and said, put it up for auction. If you buy this, I will let you listen to the rest of the song. and I will fly you out to my studio to do so.
Oh,
and so
shit.
it's crazy. It's being auctioned as an NFT.
See, now my brain's like working like, like how
this is like the third episode we ended up talking about NFTs though. This is a big deal.
It is, man. It really is.
It's crazy.
I mean, crypto is so hot right now, which like I'm waiting for it to like have its little crash, and then I'll probably get into it.
It's happening now.
Oh, good, perfect. That's what I like. So I'll get
this
into
is
it next week.
this is your chance now, because Biden just said something about potential taxes. Like if it doesn't affect us, like if you're making over, and this isn't signed yet, but like if you make over $1 million a year, then like long-term capital gains, whether they're long or short-term capital, is going to be a 46% tax instead of like your 15% tax, which is crazy. If that goes,
it's about time. I'm not getting political, but it's about time.
Facts.
I think the original question was what you're listening to. Did we say that? Did we?
Brandon, DJB Funk is asking, do you know how much he made ASAP with that NFT?
So I'm not sure how much he made on it. I know it was up for auction when I saw it, so I'm not sure how much it sold for. So I honestly have no idea.
It's got to be up there, I'm sure.
I'm sure it's got to be up there when you consider the kind of incentives he's providing even after you buy the NFT.
Man, you know all these guys are sitting on a bunch of music too. Just new music from 2020.
All the club stuff, right?
Oh my gosh.
Gotta be.
But be ready. Yeah, tell us what you've been listening to, man. Tidal, Apple Music, or otherwise.
Man, what have I been listening to? Definitely trying to stay up on the new school R&B that's coming out. Really, I think the most recent thing that came out, Conway the Machine.
I'm not hip.
Is probably the thing. So he's like Pusha T type, drug dealer type, talk about that type of lifestyle. But the production behind his music, I really enjoy. So that's kind of one of the things that I'm moving towards to even what I listen to is if I'm not jealous of the production, I don't even want to listen to the song at all. Wow. So he's got some producers that he's got behind him that I really enjoy listening to. So obviously I gravitate towards that music.
It reminds me of like if you had like 21 Savage, but you just had the beats. I mean, they're still dope beats, but like I really like. I mean, is it the same kind of content as far as what they're rapping about, or Pusha T is probably more of a battle rapper than Savage is?
Correct. It's more towards the Pusha T type music than it is towards the 21 Savage type music.
Got it. All right, cool. Krupp, what's up? What you been listening to, man?
Oh man, I was doing the jazz search, so I was looking up piano or like house jazz, upbeat jazz for some dinner vibes at Gala. But man, I've been listening to pretty much. I've been trying to find like disco edits of new school songs, like a lot of mashups and just like old school beats on new school songs.
Where do you go to find that?
I mean, I have pretty much every music subscription that, like from DMS to Club Killers to HMC. I have a bunch. I have like 6 of them, but also like just digging on like YouTube, SoundCloud. I mean, I have a library of stuff that I'm finding stuff that I didn't even know I downloaded before just by searching my Serato library.
Right.
But but if you guys know of any spots for disco edits, I mean, let me know.
I don't think you mentioned Bandcamp, but Bandcamp's been one of my favorite things to dig through.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was listening to DJ P Dot. Some of you might know P Dot from his YouTube channel. He's like a big tech guy. He's out in Vegas. I've actually got to meet him a couple times, and I'm always trying to pop in his stream. But he was throwing out a really dope just afternoon set today, and he was saying that SoundCloud is back. Like, and maybe it never left, but I feel like there's a time where like you'll search SoundCloud for an hour and get 2 songs. And I, you know me, I'm all about efficiency, so I was not about it. But he was saying that a lot of the tracks that I was like like, yo, this is dope. Yo, this is dope. He's like, yeah, SoundCloud. So, maybe it's back.
Yeah, I mean, they're on there. It's just, there was a lot of songs getting taken down. And then a lot of like, sometimes when you rip from SoundCloud, it can download as really shitty quality.
Yep.
So you gotta remember that.
Or the million paywalls where it's like, all right, you got to subscribe to my Spotify and my Twitter and my Facebook.
Man, I've had a couple of those. It was crazy is I've had a couple of those, and then I found out that they were just on Bandcamp. So I could go to Bandcamp, pay $1 and just get the 15 songs I was trying to get from SoundCloud.
Worth it. Every penny.
Mike, I do have a question for you.
Yo, what's up, man?
So one of the things I used to do with my download gates on SoundCloud is, I'd get people's emails. And it worked. I've gotten like 250 emails that I added to my MailChimp.
Yep.
But because those people aren't subscribers, I can't even send them emails.
Yeah, MailChimp. That's basically, so like, if I was what do I want to say? If I was a dishonest person, right, I could buy, Facebook could sell me however many emails, and then I could just throw them into MailChimp. The way MailChimp protects against that is that you have to authorize your email address before I can send you anything. So that's probably why those emails aren't working. What you might be able to do is push out to those emails like an email like, hey, corrupt email list has moved to MailChimp. Click this link so you can, follow corrupt and still receive updates, something like that. And then, you know how MailChimp is, you'll get a certain percentage, and it may be a high one, it may not be, but that's what I would recommend to
because I know it used to be different though.
Yeah.
Because you used to be able to, obviously you had to pay monthly for the MailChimp, but you would just be able to, and then people could unsubscribe if they wanted to.
Yep.
But obviously that I get what you're saying as well. But yeah, it's so what we're talking about with the download gates, it made me change what I wanted out of my, instead of asking for email, I just ask that they like the song and then they can download it. But yeah, you're right. Some people will put like 3 different sections where you got to leave a comment, you got to go to the Kroger and get them a drink, and then you got to download it.
And I'm pretty protective over who I follow on Spotify, just because I really like the Discover Weekly, and that can get overwhelming really fast if you're just, every time I download a song from someone, I'm following and blah, blah, blah. So that's why I've been off SoundCloud. And then I've been listening ever since you asked me that question. I've been listening to that Bel Air dude, man. Dude,
that by far is the best I've heard so far of all the jazz. And
it's all one dude. It's not a playlist of it. It's just one dude just knocking them out. Oh, so BELLAIRE on Spotify. If you guys like new jazz or jazzy house, like he's got it for you. Just like perfect dinner vibes. You can play an album and be good.
It's funny too, because I was like detecting the keys and trying to figure out how I wanted to put all these songs in order, and I had like 6 of his songs, and like with energy and flow, all of his songs are like pretty much there. And so I was just like, damn it, I can't play 3 of his songs in a row. Like that'd be so cheesy. So I'm like trying to figure it out.
It's a dinner playlist, man. I don't think anyone's gonna be eating dinner like, oh crap, put 3 Bel Air songs in a row. Like
you would.
I would not, bro. I'm not paying attention like that.
Couldn't find anything else.
When you're putting playlists together, you detect the key of the songs?
Yeah, so I use mixed in key, and then like especially for those dinner hours, I want my transitions to flow seamlessly. It doesn't always have to be. I don't go like exact key to exact key, but it needs to be close. Right. It needs to be
looking at the Camelot wheel and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've always enjoyed it, and especially with the house music, the keys matter more. Not so much hip hop, R&B, and stuff like that.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
And then Be Ready. You probably saw in some of the other videos, we do tips for listeners. So we call it one secret to DJing that the audience hopefully hasn't heard before. I don't know how many if you mentioned how many years you've been doing this, but seem very experienced. I'm sure you got some great knowledge to share. What is your tips for listeners, please?
So I think I have 2 big ones that kind of coincide with one another. The first one is always have fun. And I think that's one of the biggest things that's helped me is even if there's 3 people in the room, I have a lot of fun. And I think that makes people gravitate towards me. And then that kind of leads into the next thing is always DJ or perform like it's for a ridiculous crowd. So like you never know who's going to be in the room listening. You could have a manager for a big club sitting at the bar and there's only 3 people in the room. So you should perform or DJ like, you know, somebody is important is in the room. So I think those are the 2 biggest tips I have for DJs.
Dope. And then let's see. There was something I wanted to talk about. Oh, you wanted to mention business tips, right? I mean, you're a CPA. We've been asking for people for business tips, you know, with the PPP loan, with how, you know, DJs have kind of been hurt in the last year. What did you want to talk about, and how can DJs better themselves as business people?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a good question. It's not just a DJ tip. It's just like a entrepreneur tip. It's just, you know, track everything. So I think you were just talking about you were in Miami saying, hey, this is a business trip. Like track my meals, track all that, because all of that stuff can be written off. I mean, most of us as DJs are getting 1099s. So we're not in the position where we're getting a W-2 where they're taking the taxes out of our check automatically. So we have to make sure that we're tracking everything that we're spending, whether it's deductible or not, to make sure that we're not owing a ridiculous amount of money. Because, you know, if you make $60,000 on the 1099, you're going to owe a lot of taxes on that if you don't have any deductible expenses that you've tracked throughout the year. So I personally have interacted with a lot of DJs, not just DJs, but business owners at large who kind of struggle with that tracking process.
What about real quick, Mike? Like, what about, you know, a lot of DJs do get 1099s and then they do write things off, but then they only show that they made, you know, $20,000 or something crazy. You know what I mean? And then they're stuck not being able to get loans. Like, do you have any input there?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's actually a very good point. And I've had this conversation with a lot of business owners, not just DJs, but planning is really the only way to get around that. Like if I want to buy a house next year, I obviously want to show on my tax return this year that I've made a decent amount of money. So maybe I will withhold less. Maybe I'll take less deductions so I can show that I've made more money. Or maybe, you know, I get paid in cash a lot. Maybe instead of just pocketing that cash, I'll actually claim that cash to show that I've made a lot of money. So really planning becomes a lot more important in that. But also, even if I've made a significant amount of money and had a lot of write-offs, all of that is reported on your Schedule C on your 1040. So at the end of the day, I can still show that I had, I'm just throwing numbers out, $100,000 in income, and I've written off a certain amount of it. I can still show I had a certain level of income on my 1099s via my tax return. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways to get around that issue if you're trying to get a loan, if you're trying to buy a house, but you really just got to plan for it. Because at the end of the day, if you're a business owner, obviously you want to pay as little in taxes as possible, but also be approved for any of the moves you're trying to make where you need to have income verification.
Absolutely.
And when you're talking to the bank, just have a plan for any, look through your own portfolio and say, where are my weaknesses? Where are my strengths? That when you go in the bank and they say, you know, hey, you only showed that you made $20,000. Well, you know, it was a pandemic last year. I had to do all of my DJing online. So I spent this whole bunch of money on the studio. But as you can see in 2019, we were kicking it, blah, blah, blah. So just have a plan for that. Pay your quarterly taxes, like as you're tracking them. We talked about QuickBooks, Microsoft Accounting. Mint.com is good for personal stuff. So if you're, wanting to separate, Mint.com is for your personal, and then maybe QuickBooks for your business. What else did I
actually have another one to shout out?
Yeah,
so Wave is what I use personally. You can set up a personal account and a business account within Wave. It's free, which is my favorite price.
Sure.
So it's free, and I connect my credit card, my debit card to it, so it automatically imports transactions. Similar to how a QuickBooks or Mint would work, but typically QuickBooks and Mint, you have to pay for their online access. With Wave, you don't have to pay anything. So
just WAVE? Or
Yeah.
what? How do you
Yeah.
just,
Yep.
Okay, cool.
I
Yep.
have to make the
So
switch, man. That's dope. Yeah, because QuickBooks Online stuff definitely charges.
is not cheap.
No, no,
gotta
no.
stay away from that one.
Let's see. You talked about that. Be ready. Where can people find you? I think we got your Instagram on here. Is there anything, projects that you want to shout out, or maybe social media accounts that you're trying to grow?
Yep. So DJ B Ready at Instagram and Twitter. Projects. I have a beat tape that I've released a while ago called Sonic Alchemy. I am working on releasing Sonic Alchemy 2. So that should be coming out probably mid-May. And then I'll also have another project, a beat tape that I've released with P Holla, who I referenced earlier, called French Pressed. And so we had a lot of fun with that project as well.
And where can we find the beat tapes?
You can find those on everything. So Tidal, Spotify,
great.
Apple Music, everything.
And if I just search DJ Be Ready with spaces or without, I can find them on there?
It should be with spaces. So DJ space. No, actually, with the music, there's no DJ. So it's just Be Ready.
Got
B
it.
space REDI.
And
Nice.
that leads perfectly into what the next thing I want to talk about. If you are watching and you are not subscribed to our Columbus DJ podcast playlist on Spotify, please do that. That's going to really help our community and all of our different producer friends. Corrupt, Be Ready. I'm about to put your beat tape in there. Entel, Fear and Low, Governor, all these guys, we're throwing them in there. Hopefully we have enough followers. Whenever a track comes out, you throw it in, the Columbus Friends playlist, or you hit the like button on there, so people get traction, and we're just kind of actually supporting our community. It's the easiest and most free way to do it. Again, you can search Columbus DJ Podcast on Spotify. There's a link, bit.ly/Columbus DJ Podcast has all of our links. I'm putting it on the screen now. And if you have a song you want to add to that, reach out to myself or Corrupt, and we'll put it on there. We try to stick to people who've been a part of the show, but now's a really good time to reach out to us. So, we see we only have Be Ready as a guest this week. So now's a great time. If you want to be on the show, just reach out to us. There's no gatekeeping here. We want to have everyone hear your story, DJs, all of that. All right, B-Funk's on his way over. For those of you who are watching from out of town, there was a police shooting in Columbus. Normally we don't like to talk about this stuff, but it's happening in our hometown, and it affects the Black community. DJing is originally a Black art form, so I feel like we can talk about it for a little bit. Brandon, who I was just on the phone with, is a great friend of the show, great friend of mine personally, and he hosts anti-racism classes at Athens High School as well as Hawaii University, so I can't really think of someone better to talk about this. And we had a conversation this morning, and I thought, if anyone's good enough to talk about this with, it is this man right here, DJ B-Funk, aka Brandon Thompson. Brandon, you didn't hear the intro, but basically what I told you earlier. Just want to ask you a few questions about the situation and get your thoughts. What did you see in the video? How did you react? And what do you think should happen? Maybe with the officer and legislation, if you could, please.
Oof.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
That's
a little bit loaded.
Yeah. Which you want me like? What did I see? What I want to have?
Yeah. I mean, you watched the video.
Well, okay. Yeah, I watched the video. Well, here's the first thing. I watched the video and I broke my rule. Anybody wants to know how I feel about it? I got Facebook status. I never watch those videos anymore. After George Floyd, I was like, nope, I don't need Black trauma anymore. That shit's just activating on a level. But I did watch this one because I have a daughter who's 4, and I felt like and it was Columbus. I felt like I needed to know what's going on, so I did, and I just got really mad. I watched this camera, and I was talking to you, Mike. I'm just really upset because homeboy's gun is just out as soon as he gets out of the car. He doesn't know what's going on. Like, he's just ready to go. And I don't think he was there to kill anybody. I really don't. I'm not saying he's a racist cop or anything, but I just don't like the narrative of this is just what we're supposed to deal with, and that's how I feel about it, and that's why I'm outraged about it. And I've had a lot of pushback from people because I get it, people say, oh, he saved that girl's life. And, I don't necessarily know that, and well, what is he supposed to do? And I agree with that. He has this gun in his hand, but if he didn't have the gun in his hand, he wouldn't have time to think what to do. You know, he might have something else. He might charge the girl. He might fucking taser. I don't know, like put his way in danger. But since he already has the gun and he thinks, oh shit, let me just shoot. Like, if he doesn't have the gun, like it doesn't go off, you know, it's kind of where I'm at. And that's why I'm like so outraged about it, you know, because like, you know, people say it's not George Floyd. And I agree, it's not George Floyd, but like, it's still not right. Like, you know, take color and anything out, like that is not what's supposed to happen, you know? And I know cops put themselves in situations to save people, you know, but like, I think if you watch the video, he's looking at the ground, you know, with people, you know, when you guys, I don't know if you guys have guns, some of you guys do, some of you don't, but like, when you take your gun out, your intent is to use it. You know, is he planning on shooting these people on the ground too? He's just pointing at everybody. And like, that's just not good, you know? And so for me, like, if I just let it roll, you know, that's me saying it's okay. You know, that's me saying like, well, and it's going to happen again. So that's kind of like, I called Mike this morning and we were chatting. So we kind of talked about this a little bit. And, you know, I think we had a different opinion. I won't say different, but you know, we weren't just completely in agreement, and that's kind of been the case a lot. But more importantly, like, you know, we play so much black music. I was thinking about this before I came on here, Mike. It's like, we got to check in on the people, you know, that, you know, like there's this thing where like we all play hip hop, but like, we don't necessarily think about the people who are doing it, or like the DJs who are in these spaces or have to deal with this stuff. And I feel like we got to normalize like checking on our friends of color and our, you know, our white allies, you know, who are dealing with their friends who are dealing with this and not knowing what to do. So, and then you ask, you know, what I think should happen. You know, I'm not exactly sure, but I don't think he should be on the force. You know, there should be a penalty. You know, I really think like, you know, he doesn't need to necessarily go to jail, but he shouldn't be on the force. You know, like that can't go. I don't know, man. It just can't be like, that's what happens, you know, like Derek Chauvin killed somebody and then he had all this other shit and eventually he killed somebody else, you know, like if you don't get a penalty, you know, like if you killed somebody at DJing, you know, like, and then you're allowed to keep going, like you might do it again because you might not learn your lesson, you know? So that's kind of where I'm at with this right now. So.
Yep. Thanks, Pre-Funk. Appreciate you sharing that, man. And, you know, as far as my reaction, I didn't watch anything. As soon as I kind of saw the headline, I saw that there was a body count. I said, I'm not listening to any of this narrative bullshit. You know, a baby girl versus, you know, young woman, blah, blah. I'm just going to watch the body cam. I'm going to react. And then hopefully, you know, I'll watch it twice and not have to view it again. And, you know, being at the gym and the fucking bank. Of course, I'm watching on the news and I'm just like, oh, guess I'm watching it a third, fourth, fifth time. So initial reaction was, you know, I could tell exactly when the moment, like, when something has it, I was like, oh, you can't do that. And then it happened. So, you know, I do wish that there was some kind of de-escalation. It just, I
have a couple comments actually.
What's up
on the topic? So the first thing being, I had a debate on Twitter, which was outrageous, but one of the guys said that, you know, the gun, you know, when a cop has a gun out, he shoots to kill because that's all he's trained to do.
Sure.
And the gun is last resort. And I'm like, okay, well, if a gun is last resort, why did he have it out as soon as he stepped out the car? If the gun is last resort, then use it as a last resort. He did not do that. I agree that this is not the same thing as the George Floyd situation, but my thing is, messaging is important. You kind of made a comment that, you know, it doesn't matter if she's a girl or a woman. Well, it does matter. She's a 16-year-old or 15-year-old girl. That is relevant. If my job is to protect and to serve, I mean, I'm a 6'4", 250 guy. I think that I could subdue a girl, period. And if I'm this cop and I walk out, I should be able to be equipped and trained to subdue this girl. And if I can't do that without busting my gun 4 times, I shouldn't be working here, period. There's that. The conversation is over on that. You're not equipped for this job because you cannot control a girl without busting your gun 4 times. That's crazy.
And the only thing I'll say to that is, if it was my, you know, friend, if it was my sister, that was, you know, the one who was, you know, being come after with the knife, I hate to say it, like, I'd shoot him if he's coming after my sister. So, you know, if that's what he saw, if that's the angle that he took, I get it. But again, like we've all said,
so
de-escalation and just
de-escalation didn't happen.
Yeah.
De-escalation did not happen. So I understood on your point, because I mean, if my daughter was the girl in the pink, obviously I would feel differently to some degree. But at the same time, one of the other comments that I've made to a friend earlier is he took a possible injury and made it a definite fatality.
Sure.
I don't think that that's how law force is supposed to go. You're not supposed to say, oh, she could injure someone, so I'm going to kill her. Like, you just took this and made it this. That part does not sit well with me. I think that I understand he wasn't in the best position, but there are definitely other avenues he could have and should have taken.
And then this is the last thing that I'll say for everyone who's like, they're the rock that they're standing on is like, she had a gun, or not a gun, she had a knife, she was dangerous, that's why the officer shot. We all saw what happened to Kyle Rittenhouse, someone who's 1 year older, who's a male, walking right by these dudes with an assault rifle. So
just killed 2 people.
Yeah. And then James, the final word, please.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with B-Funk on, the guy shouldn't be on the force anymore. The de-escalation didn't happen. I think it was DJ Leak that tweeted something like, how many fights have we broken up with grown men at the end of the night at clubs where we, so there's just it was bad timing. It wasn't de-escalated correctly. And like, I agree with you, Brian. It's a little girl, I don't have the answers, but I don't know. I mean, definitely shouldn't have had his gun out. It's just awful that happened here in Columbus, but at the same I mean, I'm just jaw dropped, I don't know what to think. I don't really know.
It's a hard one, man. I mean, that's the thing. And I think that's the good thing about it, is that it is hard, because this is like where,
is it a system issue? Like, is it a training issue? Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard because, like, we all saw George Floyd. It's not, nobody's going to lay on somebody for 9 minutes ever again. Like, that shit's fucking, that dude was going to jail no matter what. But you even saw, like, it took a year. But, like, this one's hard because, like, it's so easy to be like, well, like what you said, Brian, like, everyone's decided that this girl was intending to kill that other girl. Why? Is it your implicit bias? Is it, what makes you say you saw something, so you decided that person was going to get, like, we all had fucking kids in our high school that had pocket knives and got in fights and took knives out to defend themselves. They weren't trying to kill the other kid. They were trying to get the fuck away, so it just gets weird. I grew up in a small town, so I don't know if that's how you guys in Columbus were, but, down in Southeast Ohio, like, that's what it was, and so it's weird that like you said, Brian, like, we're okay with, like, the definite death from a possible injury, but somehow we're able to take, there was some video I saw some dude, like, with a fucking hammer coming at cops, and they didn't take him down. Like, that cop, like, when we all agree it's bad training, but, like, if we don't send, like, the messaging Brian said, like, if we don't send something that this is not okay, it will happen again. And go ahead, Brian.
The only other thing I want to say is, and I don't want to take too much time, is that I don't think that it's necessarily a training issue. And the reason I say that is because we have seen examples of them doing this properly. We've seen examples of them de-escalating the situation effectively and no one being hurt, the guy being taken in handcuffs, put in the car, and they go to fucking Burger King. It's not that they're not trained. It's that when they see a white man with the weapon, they think of themselves. They think of their son. They think of their nephew. They think of their grandpa. When they see a black girl with a weapon, they think of a predator. That's not a training issue. That's a different issue completely.
Yeah, no, I agree. What I meant was like a psychological, like, screening, or like a psychological training.
Yes,
and like,
it
not
is
so much like,
it's not a tactical training issue. It is definitely a psychological, addressing your subconscious issue.
Yeah, I talk. Oh, go ahead, James. Yeah.
No, you.
We're gonna stop in 3 minutes, guys.
Okay, I'll be real quick.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to Mike about this. It would be like if you went to like it was a barbecue and a bunch of girls were fighting. Say everyone's all white, and if the cop could be black, Asian, whatever, because we know this happens for everybody. But, like, they see these groups of people differently. And so they like,
Correct.
could you imagine if all those people, and I know people, oh, you're paying the race car, but imagine everybody's white and the cop gets out of the car and has his gun already ready, pointed at two white girls fighting, or no, a white man and a white girl, because I think it was a guy, fighting on the ground. He's already pulled his gun out. Like, he wouldn't do that. Any cop would do that, black, white. But, when you enter people of color, it changes, and that's
Correct.
a psychological thing that we have to talk about. People, oh, it's color. Yeah. Like they don't see people of color the same way they see, white people. And that's why we end up getting killed more often, not because we're more dangerous. It's just this implicit bias shit. So
Correct.
I really appreciate you guys bringing on. This has been eating me up all day. I just love people that talk about it. So
glad you're here, man. And be ready. Final word. Anything you'd like to say?
Nah, I really appreciate you guys having me on. And I really appreciate us being able to have, a DJ production conversation, but then also talking about some stuff that definitely hits home for Columbus people. So I appreciate you guys being open to having that conversation.
Absolutely. If you're watching on YouTube, guys, like the video, comment a question below for any of us, and subscribe for more music, stories, and advice. This has been the Columbus DJ Podcast. I'm DJ Access. My co-host is DJ Corrupt. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in a Thursday in the future. Keep an eye on our social media for when that will be. Peace.
See you guys.
See ya.